years and 6 months or 2 years.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Ms. Dolan?
Here.
Ms. Belisca? Present. Mrs. McKnight? Here. Mayor Morgan?
Here.
Mrs. Joffrey?
Here.
Mr. Kogan?
Here.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Here. Salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's a public meeting, Borough Council, Borough of New Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey. Adequate notice has been given. In accordance with PL 1975, Chapter 231, the annual notice was made in conformance with Section 13 of the Act. Before we start, I'd like to have a moment of silence for the two individuals, the couple that got shot in Washington, D.C. The other day. I just don't understand how people can be so violent and just shoot somebody for no reason whatsoever. They were just walking out of a museum. It's just horrible. So let's have a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, we have a couple proclamations, and we'll do National Gun Violence Awareness Day first. Kathleen, you want to come up with me?
Sure.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, come up. Okay, whereas every day 125 Americans are killed by gun violence and more than 260 are shot and wounded, with an average of nearly 19,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas the people of the United States are 26 times more likely to die by gun homicide than other people in other high-income countries. And whereas New Jersey has 437 gun deaths each year, a crisis that costs the state $5.3 billion each year, of which $168 million is paid by taxpayers. New Jersey has the 5th lowest of gun deaths in the United States. And whereas gun homicides and assaults are concentrated in cities, with more than half of all firearm-related gun deaths in the nation occurring senseless violence with evidence-based solutions. And whereas protecting public safety in the communities they serve is the mayor's highest responsibility. Mayors, council people, and law enforcement officers, a partnership with local violence intervention activists and resources, know their communities best and are most familiar with local criminal activities and how to address it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. And whereas gun violence prevention is more important than ever, as we see gun violence continue to impact communities across the country. And whereas in January 2013, Adea Pendleton was tragically shot and killed at age 15 on June 6, 2025, to recognize the 28th birthday of Adea Pendleton. People across the United States will recognize Gun Violence Awareness Day by wearing orange in tribute to Adea Pendleton and other gun victims. and the loved ones of those victims. Whereas the idea was inspired by a group of Hadeia's friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her by wearing orange. They choose this color because hunters wear orange to announce themselves to other hunters when out in the woods. The orange is a color that symbolizes the value of human life. And whereas anyone can join this campaign by pledging to wear orange on June 6, 2025, and people across the United States will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. And whereas we renew the commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all we can to keep firearms out of the hands of people who should not have them. We encourage responsible gun ownership to keep our guns, keep our families and communities safe. Now therefore it be resolved that I, Mayor Alan Morgan, Borough of New Providence, declare June 6, 2025, first Friday in June, to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day, and I encourage all citizens to support their local communities' efforts to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence and to honor the value of human lives.
Thank you.
That's a long proclamation. You want to say a few words?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think most people in the audience know that I've been a gun violence prevention advocate for many years. I think after the Parkland shooting, I've got involved in Moms Demand Action to try to create awareness of this issue and really work towards legislation that will protect our families and reduce gun violence all around. So thank you, Lori Murphy, friend and neighbor here in Providence, for taking the lead on the proclamation this year. And thank you for coming and honoring this event. And can we get a picture?
I was gonna say Mary Ann's not here tonight.
She's not,
I'll
yeah.
take the picture so
Okay.
and I can send it to her.
Thank you.
Does anybody else, you want anybody else up there with you?
Does anybody else want to come up? Sure. Yes, no, or yes. Yeah, whatever. Why not? They're all in orange.
Good.
Come on up. Come on up.
The more the merrier. Look at that son, Jim.
Yeah, just hold that up so that you can.
Ryan's gonna go also.
Oh, that's not all right.
I'm tall. You go here. Okay, here come more.
Definitely hide your not orange shirt.
Better be in the front.
Everybody.
Go in front. Next to Alan, maybe. This way you get in. There you go.
Run the front. Why don't we all go in? Poor Donna. Wait, poor Donna.
You're the first one up, and now you're in the back.
Squish in there.
Yeah, I know.
1, 2, 3. One more.
Well, Unity Day, people can stay up here. Alex.
Yes.
Well, this won't be as long as that other one. Yeah, come on up.
Definitely fresh on here.
So, Neil, you and John are not getting out of this one.
By the way, new grandfather.
I know. Whereas the Borough Borough of New Providence is comprised of a multitude of races, ethnicities, spiritual beliefs, and cultures. And whereas these diverse characteristics make up a beautiful cultural and linguistic diversity of which we should be proud. And whereas fostering unity and shared purpose among residents is essential to building a strong and thriving community. And whereas the Borough of New Providence is committed to leading this borough with excellence and kindness, with inclusion and hope, and with balance and optimism, we will reject and resolve to counter attitudes of fear, pessimism, or cynicism. And whereas the Borough of New Providence encourages all citizens to actively participate in events and initiatives that celebrate our diversity and shared values and work together. Now therefore I, Alan Morgan, Mayor of the Borough of New Providence, and on behalf of the Borough Council do hereby proclaim our continuing commitment to be an inclusive community that rejects stigma and bias against individuals because of race, ethnicity, place of origin, physical ability, socioeconomic status, gender identity, sexual orientation, age, or religion. We urge all our residents to strive to create a welcoming, and supportive environment where everyone feels valued and empowered to contribute to the betterment of New Providence. We are grateful for the commitment of our tradition of holding a Unity Day celebration and appreciate the efforts of those contributing to this important event held on June 7th, 2025 at New Providence High School. And I want to thank you all for doing what you do. I think this started 15 years ago.
Maybe not that long.
No, well, every year it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm actually good it's at the high school because that's where this event belongs. So thank you all. And, God bless you. And let's hope this all works out for the best. Unfortunately, I have a graduation party that I have to go to. So, but I always love it. And we all got to squish together here.
Really
Here,
squishy.
I can stand in the back. I'm a little tall.
Yeah, that's.
Gotta hold the proclamation.
You're trying to get us.
Like a little,
Yes, please.
You guys good?
This is going on TikTok.
Okay. I'll send it to you.
And make sure you take a lot of pictures so I can see what's going on.
John, what his last name was? John, the video guy?
Thank you.
I have no memory. That's a challenge. Hi. How are you? Never thought that way.
Okay, I need approval of minutes for May 13th, please.
So
Have a
moved.
motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
No, so be it. Okay, we have some correspondence, Board of Adjustment hearing for 30 Wilbur. Another one for 1460 Springfield Avenue. New Providence Fire Department resignation for Robert Munoz. He's in school in Michigan, and I think he got a job. New Jersey Conference of Mayors to pledge to restore energy tax receipts and revised real rules. They sent a proclamation down, and I signed it, so that'll be going down to Trenton. If people don't know that what this is that the state took our revenue years ago for energy receipts, like power lines, communication lines that go in our right of way over the telephone poles. we were supposed to get money for that. They took all that money to balance the budget years ago, and we've never seen it. We've gotten a little back every year, but not the way it should be. Okay, Frank Colombo about traffic concerns on the volume of speed coming from Berkeley Heights now that the bridge is closed. The police department has been notified. Planning board, Yoga 6, it's about a sign. Next are New Providence Fire Department, applications for Trevor Fornoff, Kenneth Mayenski, and Joseph Espelon. And we have a New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission for film ready certification, and I know Bernadette, you've been on top of that, so we're all ready to go. So, any comments?
If I may. I just wanted to give a shout out again to Bernadette, to Cindy Reese, Lieutenant John Stratanovich, who Mayor Morgan always tells me I mispronounce his name, which is terrible for me to do that. And also Councilman Alex Cogan and Council President Lisa McKnight. Lisa and I went to the Film Ready booth at the League of Municipalities a couple years back, and we started bugging Bernadette, who was already on board with it. So a couple of Novembers ago. So huge thank you, shout out. This is old news, but also Lamar Maxon, thank you so much for your help and guidance.
Great. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's start with council business. Kathleen, administration.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2025-143 is a resolution approving proposal from LexisNexis for online legal research services for a 3-year term. This allows for the continued use of the platform through September 30th, 2028. Next is Resolution 2025-144. This is a resolution approving requisition R2501269 for QuickText LLC in an amount not to exceed $3,964 for Wi-Fi updates in the municipal center. This is approving the installation of new Cat6 data runs and access points for new public and private Wi-Fi throughout the municipal center. Sorely needed.
Thank you. Engineering, Alex.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2025-145. Resolution approving progress payment number 1 for grade construction in the amount of $82,652.10 for the community pool bridge replacement project. So this is for payment number 1 of the superstructure, and a little bit of additional mobilization that was needed. Resolution 2025-146. This is accepting the proposal of Colliers Engineering and Design, Inc. for professional engineering services related to the NJDOT FY 2024 Maple Street Improvement Project. So there's 2 tasks here, survey services and utility investigation mapping. And the second task is flashing pedestrian beacon design for FY 2024 NJDOT project.
Okay, finance, Lisa.
We're going to start off with ordinance 2025-06. And this is the first introduction of this ordinance. It is a bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements in and by the Borough of New Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey, appropriating $15,873,500, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $15,065,500 bonds or notes of the borough to finance part of the cost thereof. So this is the introduction of the bond ordinance as well as the capital projects for 2025. The ordinance includes road paving, upgrades, and improvements to sections of Maple Street and Union Avenue. It does also include the renovations for the DPW building, upgrades to some of the wastewater treatment plant equipment there, renovation to the police department, and repairs and improvements to the firehouse roof. And that's just to name a few of the projects. So just so that we're aware, this is not really technically a bond sale, but we're going to be using shorter term what we would call bond anticipation notes to finance these 2025 capital projects. Those can go out like about 5 to 7 years. And this is really part of the long-term strategic bond plan that we've been working on all along. Later on in my spiel, we're going to go over another bond resolution, which is different, but it's in the big picture, it's all kind of a piece of the puzzle, so to speak. So this bond ordinance is, again, just to get the 2025 projects up and rolling, which we've already, we've spoken about and we've okayed, so to speak, so much so that we have gone out for grants for some of these projects. And that would be the DPW building.
Why don't we do this? Let me open this up to the public now.
Okay.
So Jimmy's here. I'm gonna open up this for questions, just this ordinance, to the public. We have Jim Testa here, CFO. Does anyone have any questions?
Just so you know, June 16th will be,
The final.
yeah, the final on
The
this,
public meeting, the public.
public hearing.
This isn't necessarily that.
Seeing no one, I declare they're closed. Okay, let's go into resolution 147.
I'm sorry, could I just interrupt for a second? I would like to request to remove this ordinance from the consent agenda.
We don't vote on this tonight. It's only an introduction of the ordinance.
It's on the
Okay,
consent.
it's on the consent agenda.
So she just wants a
Okay,
separate
so-
vote.
I need a motion table.
She doesn't want
Just
to
to
table
move
it,
it
she
to
just wants a
nine.
separate vote.
We're just gonna vote on it separate.
So I'll just remove it at the end, we'll do a separate one.
And just to note, the next meeting is the 17th.
Yeah.
Yes.
17.
You said 16th. I think.
Oh, I did, I'm sorry, 17th.
You scared me because
Sorry, 17th.
Okay, let's go into 147, please.
147 is a resolution authorizing payment of the attached bills payable list in the amount of $5,844,090. Some of the more significant items are about $3.3 million to County of Union for second quarter county taxes. Again, County of Union for $133,920 for second quarter open space taxes. We have the City of Summit for $945,000 for their annual sewer to joint meeting. We've got $620,000 for payment of bond principal to the depository trust, and also to the depository trust interest on bonds of $19,607. And we also have $266,671. That's to Tower Springs Garden. That's a tax court judgment refund. And I was reminded about this because I did forget about it. So this was a tax judgment that we're paying back over in 3 installments. So not to just whop us all at once. Resolution 148 is a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2025 budget pursuant of NJSA 40A 4-87, Chapter 159, PL 1948, which is the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, for the Barabesh Manor Senior Housing Elevator Installation. This is additional grant funds. So we're going to be inserting an additional $20,000 into the CDBG Year 50 grant to be used for the elevator over at Barabash, and this increases the award from $65,000 to $85,000. Resolution 149 is a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2025 budget pursuant of NJSA 40A 4-87, Chapter 159, PL 1948, State of New Jersey 2025 Clean Communities Grant. The Clean Communities program was created in 1986 with funding from taxes levied on the sale of litter-generating products. In 2002, the Clean Communities Fund was reauthorized. 21 counties and 559 municipalities are eligible to receive funding. Funds are dispersed as state aid to be used for litter cleanup and removal, public education, and information regarding litter, graffiti abatement, and Bag Up New Jersey. enforcement of litter-related laws and ordinances. This year, we received $35,978. Resolution 150, Shelbourne Spring LLC versus New Providence Borough, Block 210, Lot 21, known as 41 Spring Street. Docket numbers, long numbers, 004490, 2019, and, oh gosh, there's a whole bunch of them. You don't need to read them all. So this is approving the stipulation of a settlement for 41 Spring Street for the 2024 tax year in the amount of $51,620. 2019 through 2023 appeals were withdrawn due to the settlement agreement.
Just I have a question real quick. This relates to also the $267,000 that we're paying. These settlements aren't paid by current taxes, right? They're paid out of our surplus,
They come out of reserve for tax appeals.
reserve for tax appeals. Thank you.
Which is a line item that we always wonder, why do we need that on there?
Right.
Why do we need that? This is why.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, where are we? Resolution 151 is a resolution providing for the combination of certain issues of general improvement bonds. Oh, this is the one I was talking about. So this one is providing for the combination of certain issues of general improvement bonds, Series 2025 of the Borough of New Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey, into a single issue of bonds aggregating $16,481,000 in principal amount. This resolution allows for the sale of bonds of previously authorized bond ordinances for various capital improvements. These projects ran from 2016 through 2024 for the purpose of issuing one general improvement bond, Series 2025. And the reason why this really came to the forefront this year was because we have about $9 million of bond anticipation notes that are coming due in July. So knowing that we had some capital projects that we were looking at, we were trying to find the best way to get this strategic bond plan put in place. And that is, so this bond is the result of that. And I want to say that really, you know, with the Finance Committee, Jim, Bernadette, and our bond council have spent a lot of time really looking into the weeds and really making sure that what we put together was in the best interest of our residents, meaning minimal tax impact with this, as well as the 2025 bans that we're looking at. We structured in such a way that it's efficient and very tax effective for our residents.
Yeah, there was a lot of work that was put in when we were looking not only at the projects from the past, but the projects from this year to try to figure out how to get the best impact that would improve our infrastructure and keep us going and moving forward as our borough grows. And the way that the Finance Committee did it in such a way to put these items from the past together to do the bond sale now, and then going out for the shorter term for the improvements that we direly need to our facilities, keeping on that plan, then eventually that'll roll into a bond when our old bonds roll off. Old bonds roll off, new bonds roll on. So it's part of our continuing fiscal responsibility.
Just a very laddered approach.
Yeah.
So as stuff falls off, new stuff will go
I
on.
think it's important to know that we did go through all the capital projects and we eliminated $880,000 worth of capital projects. And so we could get this done and we prioritized everything. I know, Alex, you were involved in that big time.
Yeah, I think, Mayor, the only comment I had, and I really appreciate your effort, Jim's input, Bernadette. I had some concerns about the priority of some projects, and Bernadette did the due diligence, responded back to me. So my concerns were, but I do think going forward next year, or in general, I know we're backed up against the bond council in certain timeframes, but I think next year we should have a little bit more time in getting input on priorities, or having some more time for council input. That would be my only comment.
One more.
There's one more.
Mhm.
Are you sure?
Yep, I'm sure.
Yep, there it is.
152.
Okay, 152, resolution determining the form and other details of the $16,481,000 general improvement bonds, Series 2025, Borough of New Providence in the County of Union, State of New Jersey, and providing for their sale. This is authorizing the bond sale on July 9th of this year by electronic bid system in the amount of $16,481,000 and designating the CFO to award the bonds in accordance with the notice of sale. So Jim will let us know how those bids turn out. Hopefully our stellar bond ratings and, our good reputation will get us some good interest rates.
And then also, I think we wanted to mention that all of the projects that we were talking about on the ordinance are all on the borough website.
Yes.
If you look under projects, you can see detail behind each and every one of those.
All right,
So I just want to clarify, right? So I think it might be a little confusing. 151 is wrapping all of the previous projects that were approved
Mhm.
from 2016 to 2024 into one bond.
Yes.
And then 152 is giving the authorization for our CFO to actually go out and perform the task of
Right, exactly.
executing on that. Okay.
Exactly.
okay. Nadine, legal.
Thank you, Mayor. So the next grouping of resolutions has to do with renewing of the plenary licenses. So for everybody, those are the liquor licenses that are in our establishments. So every year at this time, all of our businesses who hold liquor licenses need to put in paperwork, and these resolutions relate to that. So Resolution 2025-153 is a resolution relative to issuance of plenary retail distribution license to Johnsha LLC for 2025-2026. That's M&M Liquors. 2025-154 is Alley Cat Incorporated for 2025-2026. That's Harley's. Resolution 155 is plenary license, retail consumption license to Murray Hill Inn. That's Murray Hill Inn. And 156, that's it. So those three. Then Resolution 2025-156 is a resolution authorizing the agreement, of lease between the Borough of New Providence and the New Providence, Summit, and Milburn Emergency Services Dispatch Center. So this is the renewal of the lease between New Providence and Mountain Valley Emergency Communication Center for 10 years. No terms have been changed.
All right, thank you. Okay, public safety, resolution 157 is to Paramus Ford to buy a new police interceptor, and it's $46,840. And boy, have car prices gone up. I remember years ago, they used to be $20,000. Okay, resolution for Northeast MDT for $4,800, and that is to purchase, what is it? A new vendor name. That's what it is. It's for the computers for the patrol cars. Okay, 159 is an agreement between the County of Union and the Borough of New Providence for a shared CAD system. Resolution 160, and then the following ones are resolutions for step guides for the police. Carly Bauman to step 7. Ron Cadetti, step 8. Kevin Gutierrez, step 5. Marcus Martinez, step 7. And resolution 164 is appointing Nicholas Abruzzo as a probationary officer for the police department. He'll be a full-time probationary officer effective June 1st. And 165 is a resolution for Central Square Technologies, not to exceed $6,825, and that's for a CAD to interface for the fire department and the county dispatch. Okay, Public Works, Matt.
Okay, so I lost my spot here. Resolution 166 is a resolution authorizing the sale of property no longer needed for public use on an online auction website. We'll be auctioning off a few vehicles, a dump truck, a car that was seized, and I believe a third vehicle as well. That's it.
Okay, we'll do committee reports. First off, I just want to thank Allison and everybody who did the parade. Went off without a hitch. I know we've heard of other incidences in other communities like Seaside Heights, where multiple stabbings, and this could happen anywhere, and that's why we have the police presence we have and the training that we give. We have car thefts are up again. Not so much here in New Providence, but in the surrounding communities, but we have had a couple. And so I ask everybody, take your keys, wear your fob, bring them inside, and don't put them by the front door. But they're mostly going after BMWs, Mercedes, the high-end cars. So just be aware that people are out there. Matt. So after that, operations normal, and we'll go to Kathleen.
Thank you, Mayor. In terms of Diversity Committee, we held our first meeting on Monday, May 20th. It was well attended. And now we're working on setting our goals for the remainder of the year, getting a monthly meeting set up. And as you can tell from many of the people that were here for Unity Day, who are also involved in the Diversity Committee, there's a lot of excitement about working together on this in 2025 and into the future. And just a reminder, the Unity Day celebration will be happening on June 7th from 4 to 6 at the high school gym. Everybody in town is welcome. There's flyers in the front. If you'd like to pick one up, it's from 4 to 6, I mentioned. And the Diversity Committee will be hosting a table there. And I hope you'll all join us. I think, Lisa, you might be saying a few words at the beginning. Okay, great. Let me know one way or the other.
I might.
In terms of the Municipal Alliance, they follow the school calendar, and so the last meeting of the year will be next week, June 4th. As always, we continue to encourage residents that are interested in helping this important work to apply, submit a volunteer application on newprov.us. So just quickly, I just want to explain why I asked for the bond ordinance to be moved off the consent agenda, if this is a good time, or I can save it for the end. Is this good?
Well, it won't be removed. You just can vote the way you want it.
Right, it's going to be a separate vote, though, from the rest
Separate
of the,
vote.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Is that the time to discuss it, or is that a voting? There's no discussion.
Yeah, I think you should just leave your comments for when we vote. This way you
Okay.
can discuss about why you're voting the way you're voting, and
So it's also committee.
it's part of
Sounds
a
good.
discussion on the actual agenda item.
Got it. So that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Diane.
Thank you, Mayor. Also kudos to Allison and everybody who participated in the parade. It was very well attended also. And the 9 o'clock ceremony, which is a solemn ceremony at Veterans Park, was fantastic. I mean, it always is, but I think our goal for next year should be to basically close the street, have so many people there. It's such a nice ceremony. Thank you to our American Legion for that too. There are still, for community activities, there are still some spots in our youth camps. Adult summer camps are also still time to register. Go to the source. You know, I always say it, newprov.us. Also, go to the calendar, my favorite thing. I think I am talking about Historical Society. May 10th, the annual craft fair happened. It was a really, really nice event. We're looking forward to June 14th, which is the New Providence Flea Market. So you can go to a flea market. You can be a table owner, vendor at the flea market, or you can just donate things to the Historical Society that you want to get cleared out of your house. My husband's really excited about that one. Yes. And you can actually, there's on their website, you can look, but it's also literally like just drop it off on the front steps.
Nice.
We have a meeting for Rev 250 tomorrow. Downtown Improvement District and NP businesses are working on their events, summer concerts, fall fest, etc. Board of Ed, I know I'm just want a couple things. There was the art show 2020 was fantastic. Again, I'm just always so amazed to see the talent. A shout out to our very own Devin Comiskey, or Matt's very own. His work was amazing, and when I put him on the spot to tell me about his work, he was very articulate, very mature, and I actually even made him have a little kid by me ask him a question. It was very nice to see.
Make me cry.
Kudos to our district for being named the 2025 Best Communities for Music Education. And the school year is coming to a close. We wish all the kids good luck with their exams and all things senior. There is a chat with the mayor, first Friday of the month, like always. And we will be having a coffee with council on June 7th. I believe, I haven't asked, but I'm hoping to go to the bakehouse because we try to go to different places. So that, just look for information on our Facebook page and on the website. Sorry.
Now that you reminded me about June 14th is Flag Day.
Yes.
And the American Legion does their flag retirement ceremony.
Yeah.
And that starts at 7 p.m. And it's a nice ceremony, it really is. But,
Very nice.
you know, it only gets canceled if it's pouring out or whatever, but they have a ton of flags.
Which is another service announcement. If you have frayed flags, they do have a drop-off area.
Right.
That's the whole point. So drop off any old flags. Don't throw them in the garbage.
I got
They-
Right.
New flag last year.
Yeah, me too.
That's correct.
Hang in my
Yes.
garage.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right,
That's it.
Lisa.
Thank you, Mayor. So the library met. One of the things that came out of that meeting was a proposal to fix the driveway, which I think has been a long time coming. I don't know if you go to the library like I do, it's kind of treacherous pulling in when someone's pulling out. There's really not much room. So what they're going to be doing is making it a two-way driveway, serving both an entrance and an exit to the parking lot. No spaces will be lost. They're also going to, so it's going to be like a U, right? And then in that U, next to that U, there'll also be a drop off for books. So you don't have to go in to drop off your books anymore.
What, in that year?
Yeah, right in that U. So that'll be, the book drop off will be ADA compliant. People don't have to park illegally in the front and run up to like go to the book slide, you know. So they are going to start getting prices. There are unfortunately going to have to remove a couple trees, excavation works and paving, sidewalk, cement, pad installation, all of that. And that is going to be paid from the library's capital reserve budget. So
Maybe we can get the garden club or beautification committee to
Well, they
talk
wanna
about
move
wildflowers and stuff.
they also want to move the sign to that area because right now where the sign is, nobody ever sees it. And they drive past it and then do a legal U-turn over there in front of the library because they realize they've missed the library.
No, I know Bernadette's going to ask this question.
No, I'm going to jump in and let you guys know that the library has yet to come before you and ask permission to do this. And they will be, but they're not there yet.
I've jumped the gun a little bit, but you know it's coming.
Preemptive.
Lisa's always very excited about the library.
It's coming.
Preemptive.
Now, well, I don't know if you have the answer to this, but and you probably do, I should say, sorry. They typically, the library wouldn't have to go in front of a board for approval, more so as a cursory review, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they have to.
They would have to go to a board, but I'm not sure they need.
So we've already had a meeting with Keith and Stacy. Keith will be working hand in hand with Stacy so that by the time it gets to approval, it'll just be kind of like a done deal by that point. But they do have to go.
They do have to go.
Processes anyway.
Yeah, no, okay, so let me just step back. They do have to follow the same process, but there are certain entities within the borough that can give a review and go through the same process, same applications, same reviews, same variances. However, if I'm not mistaken, the planning or zoning board has certain restrictions in terms of whether they can deny certain applications because of the entity. Now, I'll give you an example. Was the high school wanted the digital board, and they came and gave us a review of the digital board, and whether or not we liked it or not, and we couldn't deny it, right? Because it was the high school's property, and the high school didn't need our approval. That was my understanding. That's why I'm asking, because I just want to be sure, based on what I'm hearing.
If it conforms to ordinances, no, but if there was a variance necessary, they still would have to get a variance. I mean, Board of Ed, the only thing that jumps into my mind in terms of an entity as you're discussing is usually like childcare. Something like a childcare center may be exempt from.
So that's good. So the bottom line is, if there are variances,
Yeah,
or if
they're
there are any
not, like,
issues, then,
they're not encroaching on.
well,
Well,
you're adding,
why don't we let the application come before we
Yeah.
get into any
I just want to make sure that people aren't
This is-
understanding that they're going to be just wholeheartedly making changes without some review and approval. Let's put it that way.
Well, yeah, I jumped the gun a little bit. It's okay.
Thank you.
Beautification committee met. Let's see what we're doing here. Really, I think the focus is going to be on just getting the signs out this year, making sure everybody has one of those signs, and just kind of beefing up beefing up that bank account so we can do some work around town. We had a lot of great ideas, sprucing up the Welcome to New Providence signs, planting some wildflowers, doing some more work within Centennial Park, and we'll get there.
Just to be clear, the signs are the number signs
The number signs, yeah, the
for
house.
the
signs.
address house signs?
Address signs.
Hey, Nadine,
Okay, thank you, Mayor. So I have an update tonight on our affordable housing plan for our fourth round obligation. Our signed number from the Department of Community Affairs was 201. Upon doing our vacant land assessment, our planners determined that we currently have 0 realistic land development potential, which would result in an unmet need of 201. However, in this round, the state is requiring that each municipality is obligated to create 25% realistic development potential regardless. So our plan is based on that. So 25% of the 201 results in 51 units. Fortunately, we had existing affordable units that were set to expire, that we were able to renew and include in this number. So those units included are the Barabash Manor, Murray Hill Farms, and Southgate at Murray Hill. So that gave us 48, which was great. The last 3 units came from a density adjustment to properties from a previous settlement on Mountain Avenue. So this gets us to our 51 units. This proposal will be presented to the planning board at their June 3rd meeting, and it will come back to council for final approval. And then it will be filed with the state immediately after that, which allows us to come in on time as directed by the state. This entire plan is available on the planning board agenda for your review, for anyone's review on the borough website. But stay tuned for more information as we go through, and that's the update on affordable housing. Thank you. Couple of other items. The health fair was 2 weeks ago. That was really awesome. I was there with the mental health table. We had a lot of people come through, really good turnout. That was a great event. I was sitting with the mental health table. So just to wrap that up, this is my last meeting talking about Mental Health Awareness Month this year. The day after, or the Friday after, we had a ribbon tying event at the DeCorso Center. So Councilwoman McKnight and I were there as Mental Health Committee. We were joined by Debbie Merrick's Mental Health Committee. Councilperson Dolan joined us as well. And we had a great event where we had the seniors write down some mental health inspirational messages on cards, and we tied them to a tree in the center. And then we went outside And with the residents who go to the DeCorso Center, we tied green ribbon around many of the trees there. So if you drive past and you see that, again, our goal is to include all of our residents in Mental Health Awareness Month and all of our activities, which takes me to my next committee report, which is the Older Adults Committee. Councilwoman Ballista and I will be up at Lantern Hill on June 13th, approximately 3 p.m. We're calling it an afternoon tea with the seniors to bring them up to speed on what is going on in our community and to really kick off our older adult series up there. Last but not least, going back to mental health for 1 second, there is going to be our video that we put together, and that is compilation of everything that was done over the last month with all 10 towns. We're not sure where that's going yet, but the video is going to be made available, and I can't wait to see it. There's been a lot of work done. The last event for the month is going to be on March 31st at Nomahegan Park. There's going to be a walk with the New Jersey Mental Health Association. So if anybody's interested in finding that, we'll, at least I'll have it up on my Facebook page, but we'll get more information out there. And that concludes Mental Health Awareness Month. So it was a great event. It was a great month. So we've come very far, and I can't wait to see where we go from here.
Okay.
Great job on that. Just a couple comments. Memorial Day Parade, probably the best one I've been part of. Terrific attendance. Great to see the whole community. After that, going to the VFW, American Legion, I'm sorry. And then thank you to Jess for hosting us at the EMS. Just a great day all around and beautiful weather. So somebody made a phone call about the weather. Just one report, sustainability. We completed our reapplication. This is like the second round of all the comments that they had from the first time around. We're still well above the required points needed for silver certification. If we don't get it this time, there'll be yet another round of questions that we'll have to resubmit. But I want to thank Bernadette and her team, Doug Sullivan, of course, and Allison Smith, definitely. And of course, the committee members. This is a purely citizen advisory committee. So all the work is really done by the citizens. So very optimistic that we will get over the finish line.
Who's the judge and jury on?
It's Sustainable New Jersey. And looking.
Is that a department?
It is. What's interesting is all the towns that received the certification, whatever level they got, you literally can go online, see all their applications, see how they got their points, how they got their approvals. We mimic that exactly. And there's a lot of good information that you could call it reuse or share with others, but yet somehow whoever was assigned to our application took issue with some of the wording we had, or maybe wanted, as you guys know, last council meeting, we reapproved a resolution, things like that, like a little nitpicky if you ask me, but definitely doing their job. But you can't go, hey, why did you give it to this town and not us?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I'm
Copied theirs.
I'm not going to say as far as copied, but yeah, no, that's all good. And on the Board of Health, I think we have a couple of businesses we have to re-interview for some violations to the health code. So that's just on the agenda. We'll more to follow.
Stay tuned.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So I mentioned the art installation a few times. That's coming this week. It's scheduled for the 29th around 1 p.m. We'll start at Harmony Park and then move over to the Saltbox Museum for those two art installations this week. Planning board, as you saw, we have Yoga 6 in our next meeting. We also have the housing element and fair share plan, as Nadine mentioned. I just wanted to say that if you have any interest in trying to hear what the plan is that we have, the details of the plan, it will be heard at the planning board in detail. And then it'll be presented here again once it's approved by the planning board to council on the 17th. So.
And the good thing about that, McKinley will be here, our borough planner. So she is well informed of how this whole thing works. So
right.
If you have any questions, she's the one to ask.
And I also just wanted to mention that the Toll Brothers application that we talked about that was pulled, we do not have a date yet, so they have not applied for their hearing. So my assumption that'll be after the June meeting.
Yeah.
I did want to just say two quick things. I know I had a high school baseball game tonight for the state playoffs. They won 6-0. It was awesome. So I wanted to just wish all the high school sports spring programs good luck as they end their seasons. And also wanted to mention that Thursday is prom. So there'll be a lot of juniors and seniors driving around in their fancy cars and fancy tuxedos. And so keep an eye out for those guys and pretty dresses. And very exciting for prom season. So I just wanted to mention that as well. That's it.
All good times.
Yeah.
Okay. Bernadette?
Thank you, Mayor. Just two things. The auditors have been here the last few weeks conducting our annual audit for 2024. They finished today. They'll take the next few weeks to compile their findings, and then they will send it out to me and Jim Testa for review, and then it will appear on a agenda for council to approve. And then it'll also become public. The next agenda will also include a resolution accepting the proposal for the reevaluation that we've been talking about for the last few years. The borough started saving money for the reval in 2018. We've gone through different iterations of getting to this point, including redoing the tax maps. We had gone out for a RFP for a vendor. I asked the tax assessor, Brian Flynn, to reach out to them prior to next meeting to see if they could either come at the next meeting or the one in June to talk to you guys about what's going to happen during the reval process and what residents could expect and what we as the governing body can also expect. So stay tuned for that. I'm not sure what days they'll be available, but it'll be at one of those two meetings. And I just, for knowledge, I think the last time the borough had a reval was in 1996 or 1997. So it's been quite some time. And all of those tax appeals that you've been seeing on the agenda should clear up after the reval for all the properties in the borough. So, and
That's
then,
the one good thing about reval. Everything levels out. So it gets rid of the commercial tax appeals.
and then my last PSA is for the mental health committee. Please don't forget, first of the month, ribbons need to come down from Berkeley Heights to Summit.
Both
Thank you.
800,000.
Exactly.
That's definitely on.
Before we do go into formal action, I just want to say a couple things. One, if you have new committee members coming on, they have to be appointed. It's not a matter of if, they have to be appointed, because if they're not covered by the town insurance, okay? The other thing is, I've heard that some people are say they don't know about certain things, this and that. And we work on a committee system here. And that being said, we have to rely on the committees coming back to council and giving their reports. That, or we can go back as committee as a whole, which entails a hell of a lot more meetings, where we would have to have a work session like on a Monday and a council meeting on a Tuesday. I don't think people really want to do that. But, we have to rely on each other. And if you have a question, you have to ask that somebody on that committee or Bernadette. But, this where I don't know isn't an excuse. It just isn't an excuse. So, we work as committees, but we go as council as a whole. There's some things like affordable housing, like last time we did it, we all worked as committee as a whole, so we all heard the same thing at the same time because it was that important to do. Even though it's all right to have have a committee. But you know what? When McKinley comes, I mean, it has to be a committee at whole, because we all have different questions, and that pretty much she can only answer. So, okay, I'm gonna let my piece rest. Okay, so think about what I'm saying. If you want to change it to committee as a whole and work sessions, I'm okay with that. But you know, the committee system, it worked for years. So we got to trust each other. All right. So at this point, I need.
Well, public comment?
Public comment.
Oh yeah.
Jumping the gun.
Damn. Lisa, I feel like okay, get it. There it is. This is an opportunity, I haven't memorized this shit, for any member of the public to be heard about issues that are not separate topics scheduled for public hearings tonight. To help facilitate in an orderly meeting and permit all to be heard, speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes and may only speak on one topic. And please state your name and address. Anybody wishing? Yes, Brian.
Hello, Brian Haas, 49 Bradford Street. My question is really just to Nadine, you were talking about the affordable housing. And I'm not going to say I'm an expert on this, but I'd like to understand a little bit more about how this works. Because I know there was like what was it, the previous round was the fourth round, I think?
That was third.
Third round, okay.
Yep.
And now we have this fourth round.
Yep.
Which is in addition to whatever was previously required,
Yes.
right? And my understanding was that, you know, in each of those rounds, there's a certain number of units that you have to provide an opportunity for. It doesn't mean they have to actually be built within a certain amount of time or anything like that. But then you talked about 20%.
25%. This is new in this round.
So can you explain that a little bit more? I didn't fully get that because you
Yep,
talked
no
about
problem.
50 units.
So we were given our number of 201.
For the new
and
round.
Our planner
Right.
did our vacant land assessment. So they looked around at the entire town to see, okay, what do we have the ability to build on? And basically, we're full. We have zero capacity land vacancy at this point in time. But this year, so technically in the past, we'd go back and say, well, we don't really have anywhere to build. This year, the state of New Jersey is requiring that we fulfill 25% of our.
Of the newest round?
Yes,
Okay.
newest round.
That they actually have to be built and
That they
planned
have
for.
to be planned for. So we have to plan for the opportunity to build.
Okay.
So, but however, we were very lucky because we had old units from older rounds that were expiring. So the Barabash Manor, there's 22 units there. The, what did I say? The other ones were? Timothy Field Road, there were units there. And then Southgate at Murray Hill, there were units there. So when we added those together, plus we got an extra bonus for Barabash because they're rental units, we came up to 48 units based only on renewals. So we were very fortunate that we had that ability to do that. So that took up 48 of our 51 units.
Okay, but like the previous round, which I guess was round 3, there was, I forget what it was around 200, I think. And there was zoning that was done to accommodate that,
Yep,
right?
we did that through an overlay zoning plan. That
Right.
happened on land basically down by the railroad.
Right, yeah,
That whole entire strip there.
right, I know about that. So doesn't this round also require that we zone or make some sort of changes to have the opportunity for those extra 200? Or no?
From the last round.
Right,
So the last round, we're still going through the process of having that come up to speed. And we do have proof that our overlay zone is working. We have CR Bard, which is coming on with 192 units by the end of this year. That's 38 affordables. We have Toll Brothers had put in the application. That's part of the overlay zone as well. Up on Mountain Avenue, 100 Mountain Avenue. That
right, but those are
application
also
is in
all
process.
for
So
For
they're all
round
prior.
three,
Yes. So the
We
point
don't
is
need to
that,
do the same for round four?
well, round 4 is
We're
totally
meeting
separate from that.
we're meeting our
So
obligation.
we are
for our-
meeting the obligation through round 3 by, as those properties are turning over.
Right.
They are, developers are coming, and that's how we are going to fulfill the obligation for round 3. And round 4, again, separate.
Round 3 doesn't have to be completely built
No,
out.
you don't have
right?
to do
So-
one to do with the other.
But the courts will look at it and say, well,
You're making a good
are
effort.
they making an effort? And
Right.
we are, right?
I
We're
understand
actually-
that.
We are.
We have a lot of
Because
opportunities.
we are seeing that overlay working exactly as we had anticipated.
But what about the extra 200? Like, where's that going to come from?
Which
You
is-
talked about 50.
It
You talked
doesn't-
about 50, but you didn't talk
Well,
about,
that's
200.
unmet need.
Unmet need.
And as time goes on, if something does come up that we fulfill that unmet need, we do. But right now, the state is requiring that we provide a plan on our realistic development potential, which in our case this year is 51 units.
I would suggest that you come to the planning board meeting when
Yeah.
McKinney's here, and she'll have all
Okay.
displays and things like that.
and that's,
Or-
and that's when is that again?
That's on the third,
The 4th.
4th.
Okay,
June
June
3rd. June 3rd.
okay, all right.
June
We're
3rd?
off the day.
Okay.
Plus, there is that document that I had mentioned, that's going to be attached to the planning board agenda. And that
It's there.
has,
It's there already.
it's there already. So that gives a lot more detail,
On each
exactly,
round.
and it has a history. So it tells you about this round, but it will go back and show you the historical on round 3, round 2, et cetera. So 206 or 260 pages?
266.
266 pages.
A little light reading.
You know, all those years, so we did all that building, and we were a good community, and we didn't ship ours
All the
out,
time.
and now it's paid off.
Yeah.
All those people that did the RCA's and sending it down to the other end of the county, now they're all struggling, so,
We did our supposed to do.
yeah. Anyone else?
Good evening, Alan Swanson, 47 Overhill Road. I want you to know that I'm proud to be included in the group of those citizens the president identified as possessing a warped radical left mind and considers to be scum. When I was in the Army, infantry training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, I was trained that when I arrived in Vietnam, I would not be shooting other humans. I would be destroying gooks, Charlies, humans, and worse, and commies and worse. These terms extended to the women and the children as well, because the women were fighting and the children were going to grow up to be our enemies. That experience is why I wear Veterans for Peace on my shoulder. You see, it's hard to hate people unless you dehumanize them. It's even harder to kill them when you consider them as your equal. So I'm worried right now because the president yesterday ignored the reason for Memorial Day, which is to honor those who have served and given their lives so that a warped mind like mine is able to speak to you tonight. And instead of honoring them, he said, "Happy Memorial Day to all, including the scum that spent the last 4 years trying to destroy our country through warped radical left minds, who allowed 21 million people to illegally enter our country, many of them being criminals and the mentally insane, through the open border that only an incompetent president would approve, and through judges who are on a mission to keep murderers, drug dealers, rapists, gang members, and released prisoners from all over the world in our country so they can rob, murder, and rape again." By referring to me as scum or possessing a warped radical left mind. The president is deliberately dehumanizing the majority of the population that do not agree with him. His statements about judges places they and their families at extreme risk. And we know that in New Jersey very well, with the murder of the son of Judge Esther Salas in their doorway. This is dangerous and thoughtless. And all of us should be concerned about such rhetoric. You're the leaders of this town. And it falls on you to reassure the thousands of citizens in this town who do not agree with the president that this rhetoric, while vile and disrespectful, doesn't represent your views. So I just ask you to keep in mind, we spent time on a proclamation about unity. And keep that in mind and assure the people that this kind of rhetoric is just not what we need in this country. Thanks.
Thank you, Alan. Yes, Donna.
Donna Zane, 54 Brookside Drive. I didn't make the trustee meeting, but it's probably more a request here regardless. When hopefully the little circle comes at the library, to investigate the possibility, if the planets align, of moving the secure ballot drop box to that location as well.
Well, that's up to the county union.
That's why I'm saying it's not me to ask the library so much as it is possibly to put, ask here if that's a request that can then go to the county. Or you can tell me who to ask at the county.
Do you think we all get ballots in the book drop-off?
That's why I'm saying, there are probably reasons not.
You can't get a book in that.
You can't fit, it just fits my little.
You can barely get your ballot in there.
Yeah.
It's so tight.
When they first started with the mail-in ballots, I didn't want it there because I didn't think it was secure enough. But they insisted because the police station was in this building, which makes no sense to me, but at any rate. They put their own security camera over there.
Correct.
It's also where they were able to get the Wi-Fi from.
So,
That's what I understand there are many issues involved, but as someone who does use it and appreciates it using it, because for many years there, my husband didn't know if he was ever going to be in town on election day, in the country on election day. Vote by mail ballots have been crucial for us. And I just like to make it that much easier to, if it works.
Drive-by?
Yeah.
Drive-by mailing? Drive-by voting?
Yes, not that drive-by, yes.
Drive-by.
Thank you. That was just a request. And if it's asked the county, then let me know who to ask at the county.
It's definitely the Board of Elections that handles the whole thing.
Mhm.
But they talked to this woman, Nicole, about it
Right.
a few years ago. So
But obviously you are the people who speak with the Board of Elections more often than say I do. So that's why I'm bringing it up here. Thank you very much.
okay, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one, I declare the public comments closed, and I need.
Can I make a comment, Mr. Mayor, real quick? Just wanted to wait till the public meeting was closed. I just need to comment on what was said recently. Alan, I really appreciate and thank you for your service. But on this dais here, the six of us, you will not find anybody else that is more in support of our veterans and the ones that perished before us. Everyone in my family, older than me, served. My brother is a veteran. And if you attended the memorial service, just like Diane mentioned on Monday, you would not have found a more eloquent message that the mayor gave and support for our veterans. So I take a little issue with the national stuff because we worry about what's happening here at the local level. And I applaud Mayor Morgan for his kind words to the veterans. So thank you.
Thank you, Alex. I think actually the Veterans Association gave us an award a few years ago for what we do for them. So, okay. At this point, we'll go to formal action.
with you in that area.
Excuse me.
I say I
Alan.
have no quarrel with you in that area.
Alan, we're conducting a meeting. Okay? If you want to say, I understand what you're saying, but we're trying to conduct business. Okay, need a motion for items 2 through 25, please.
So moved.
Second,
Second?
roll call, please.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Belisca? Aye. Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Kogan?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Item 1, have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Did you want me to explain?
You can vote and explain why.
Okay. So I'm going to abstain on this vote. And the reason is that I was misunderstanding the process. Basically, I didn't realize that when we approved the 2025 operating budget on April 29th, that was also a de facto approval of the capital plan. And so I thought that this bond ordinance was an opportunity for us to evaluate the capital plan and get the details of how the decisions were made about what went into the plan. We got the capital plan last week, and I probably should have looked at it earlier than I did, but at the same time, I recently learned that no, when we approved the budget, the capital items were included in that. So all the bond work that's going on is to pay for those things that have already been placed on the capital budget. So I thought they were two separate things, two separate votes. I was wrong. So that means I would like to have more information about how decisions were made for the cap. It's a lot of money. And I just want to be able to understand it myself so I can explain it to other people, why certain things are happening and certain things are not happening, and what the rationale and the prioritization process is. So I'm taking myself out of the vote for tonight. And I'm sure the process will move forward as it should after that.
So you have to vote. Yeah.
She's abstaining.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to say I want to make sure it's on record.
No, we're abstaining. You're abstaining.
Saying you're going to do
Or-
something
or
and
you're
actually
saying
saying
no.
you're doing it.
I abstain, I abstain.
Okay.
Thank you.
Got it. Ms. Belisca? Aye. Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Kogan?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Okay. This is our favorite part. Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
No, so be it. And thank you all for coming.